Good morning. I'm sorry I'm not able to be with you this morning. I'm at, as you probably heard, at the Synod Council Retreat, meeting with other leaders around the Synod, trying to figure out how we might best serve, support, and build up the witness of Lutherans here in Alberta and the territories. Our text today comes from the letter from James. And he seems to be writing to folks in a church that are struggling with divisions and stuff like that. So here now, the text for today, James chapter 4, beginning with verse 1. And this is from a translation called The Message by Eugene Peterson. Where do you think all these appalling wars and quarrels come from? Do you think they just happen? Think again. They came about because you want your own way and fight for it deep inside yourselves. You lust for what you don't have and are willing to kill to get it. You want what isn't yours and will risk violence to get your hands on it. You wouldn't think of just asking God for it, would you? And why not? Because you know you'd be asking for what you have no right to. You're spoiled children, each wanting your own way. You're cheating on God if all you want is your own way. Flirting with the world every chance you get, you end up enemies of God and his way. And do you suppose God doesn't care? The proverb has it that he's a fiercely jealous lover. What he gives in love is far better than anything else you'll find. It's common knowledge that God goes against the willful proud. God gives grace to the willing humble. So let God work his will in you. Yell a loud no to the devil and watch him scamper. Say a quiet yes to God, and he'll be there in no time. Quit dabbling in sin. Purify your inner life. Quit playing the field. Hit bottom. Cry your eyes out. The fun and games are over. Get serious, really serious. Get down on your knees before the Master. It's the only way you'll get on your feet. Here is the reading. One of the phrases that repeats itself in this passage is, we want our own way. That's not a new thing, is it? This was written, about almost 2,000 years ago. And people were wanting their own way. But I think especially now, it seems like our society trains us just that we deserve what we want. Certainly, if you think about kind of the polarization in our society and the fighting going on, about people arguing about, this is what I want, this is what I want, I don't care what you want. You know, it just shows up everywhere in this self-centeredness. And certainly if you watch TV, and almost all TV now has commercials. The commercials are really good at trying to tap into that part of you that might be convinced that you want or need something. And so if they can get you to go, yeah, I deserve that. I really want that. I need that. Then they've got you. Then they can get you to almost always, it's to buy something that they want you to buy. And so it's in the commercials, it seems to be in our politics. It's also in our music. I ran across some research, because I just got curious how many songs, pop songs, over the decades have been about love. And some of the research I found said it was like 60% of the songs that we hear on the radio are about love, this romantic love, this all-consuming, I can't live without you kind of love. And our JRS, our Jesus Radio Superstar song for this morning falls in that category. It's called Cherish. Let's see. Cherish is the word I use to describe all the feeling that I have hiding here for you inside. First of all, I apologize for almost everybody that's younger than me, which is quite a few of you. This may be a song you've never heard. I suspect most of the folks that are older than me, though, are rather well acquainted with it. It was a big hit way back in the 60s, a long time ago. But yeah, cherish, using this word to talk about this, this love, I can't live without you. And even the second verse, instead of talking about cherish, you'll hear the words are perish is the word that more than applies to the hope in my heart each time I realize that I'm not going to be the one to share your dreams. This, if you would be mine, life would be awesome. Since you're not mine, my soul is dead. And it's just like, doesn't that capture that romantic love? And actually, I want to put another word in there too. This infatuation that happens when we fall in love with somebody, where all of a sudden it just seems like this is a person that will be the answer to my dreams, will fulfill me, will be the one that will love me forever, that kind of completes me even. Those of you that have fallen in love have gone through this stage where you're just infatuated. Your whole world seems to be all about this other person. But I suspect those of you that have felt this, have also been there when that disappeared. And so if you're in a relationship with someone that begins with infatuation, at some point, this image of the person that you fell in love with actually gets confronted with the reality of who that person is. Now, if it's all about what you want, this love where it completely fulfills you and it's the answer to everything you want, when that happens, it's like, oh, you're not who I thought you were. I don't want you anymore. But that doesn't have to be what happens. When somebody that's infatuated with somebody is in relationship with them and they actually are confronted with the reality of that person, there's the opportunity to actually have what I would call, we want to call it real love. Certainly, it's closer to the Christian love or agape love that is what Jesus is talking about throughout the Gospels. This love that really is about the other person, unconditional love, that is not what we want, not all about myself, what makes me feel good, but gets beyond ourselves, and we start caring for that other person. And so even though they're not what the idealized thing is, that image that we had before that's perfect, we choose to love them anyway because we care for them and we want the best for their lives also. This kind of journey from what we want to looking beyond ourselves to what others want is part of the spiritual journey. It's very much what James was talking about here. As long as you want your own way and you're fighting with others about it and also arguing with God about it, then there's a limit. There's a limit to your relationship with God. There's a limit to your relationship with others. With God, it's what we pray every Sunday in the Lord's Prayer, and hopefully more often than that. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Thy will be done. This willingness to say, okay, this is what I want, but wait a second. I'm choosing to inquire and pray to God and try to discern what God wants. Now, what it looks like as far as our interhuman relationships, there's a couple of things that kind of capture this idea. One is compassion. The other is generosity or giving. Compassion is what Jesus modeled over and over and over, looking out at people, understanding their needs, and choosing to try to provide that for them. And so it really is, what's that old phrase? Don't judge somebody till you've walked in their shoes. It's this willingness to kind of get out of our own little world and choose to step over and try as best we can get into the other person's world. And what you'll find is that other people have wonderful joys and things that they're celebrating, but also they tend to have things that they're struggling with. And when we enter into their world, then instead of our minds being consumed about what we want and what we need to have life be better for ourselves, we start expanding so that we care about what is going on in their world. In our sense, it's a movement from me to us. This willingness to kind of get beyond ourselves. And that's part of the reason why this song appealed to me, Cherish. Certainly it's a love song. And so it has all those aspects of the romantic infatuating love. Probably the Greek word for that would be eros, kind of this, it's almost like lust, but this kind of this urging kind of thing. But then in the kind of I don't know if it's the last verse, but maybe the last bridge, there's this sense of kind of getting into the other person's world. The words are, oh, I could say I need you, but then you'd realize that I want you just like 1,000 other guys who'd say they loved you with all the rest of their lies, not lives, but lies, when all they wanted was to touch your face, your hands, and gaze into your eyes. Now, I'm not saying this person made the leap to going, oh, what I want is what's best for you. But there is a sense of kind of trying to get into the person's world and to kind of not what we do be completely driven by what we want, but really trying to understand what best serves them. Now, I think in this song, as you listen to it, or those of you that know it, it's still about, I mean, what is it? There's this phrase about, oh, I'm beginning to think that man has never found the words that can make you want me. And so he's very much, or whoever wrote this song, is very much still trying to figure out how can I get this person to want me so that kind of what I want happens. But the idea, this movement of at least inquiring and starting to get into the other person's world is what appealed to me about this song, because it gave an opportunity to inquire, what does it take for us to get beyond ourselves and look to someone else's needs and wants. And so true compassion is one way that we get beyond ourselves. This putting ourselves into another person's world, but also mention generosity. Quite often we fall into the trap that one of the main accesses, is that the right word? Main ways that we have to get what we want is to have money and resources to buy it or procure it. So as we start buying things, and the things that we have that we consider ours or mine grows and grows and grows. And we quite often we fall in the trap of thinking that, oh, if I just had more money and could buy this, or that would allow me to do this, and then I'd actually be happy. Spiritually, that's bankrupt. Augustine said, we have a hole in our heart until we fill it with God. Money is not an access to that hole that's really in our heart that kind of drives us to keep seeking things that will make us complete. And so to keep from falling into that trap, first is compassion, getting our focus off what we want, what we need, and getting it on others. The other is the simple practice of giving, of sharing, of being generous. Because when we actually are confronted with having to give up something that we consider ours to someone else, it gets us into the inquiry and gets us into the practice of getting used to taking all the things that have been entrusted to us, our time, our talents and abilities, and yes, our money and other possessions, they all come from God, but things that we consider our possessions that are under our control, then we have the opportunity to inquire, wow, how can I use these to benefit others? So I invite you to practice compassion, practice giving, even sacrificial giving, to where it actually starts shifting things. Because the real professionals are folks that know that joy of giving. And when I say the professionals, I don't mean those for whom they can give $10,000 or $100,000 on a whim because it's just a drop in the bucket of what they own. I'm talking about the professional of the widow that we heard about in the children's message. They gave all that she had. The professional givers know that by giving away, even giving till it hurts, it frees us from all those things that actually keep us away from God. And there are some aspects, there's some levels of relationship with God, and I would say with others, that aren't available until you start practicing that kind of giving. Practicing increasing from 1% of what you make to 2% or up 3%, etc. This kind of giving changes the way we think, changes our relationships with each other, produces a lot of joy, but also deepens our relationship with God. I invite you to cherish the life that comes through being compassionate and being generous. Now, let's listen to the song.
Cherish is the word I use to describe all the feeling that I have hiding here for you inside. You don't know how many times I wish that I had told you. You don't know how many times I wish that I could hold you. You don't know how many times I've wished that I could mold you into someone who could cherish me as much as I cherish you. Perish is the word that more than applies to the hope in my heart each time I that I am not gonna be the one to share your dreams, that I am not gonna be the one to share your schemes, that I am not gonna be the one to share what seems to be the life that you could cherish as much as I do yours. Oh, I'm beginning to think that man has never found the words that could make you want me, that have the right amount of letters, just the right sound that could make you hear, make you see that you are driving me out of my mind. Oh, I could say I need you, but then you'd realize that I want you, just like 1,000 other guys would say they love you with all the rest of their lives, when all they wanted was to touch your face, your hands, gaze into your eyes. Cherish is the word I use to describe all the feeling that I have hiding here for you inside. You don't know how many times I wish that I had told you. You don't know how many times I wish that I could hold you. You don't know how many times I've wished that I could mold you into someone who could cherish me as much as I cherish you. And I do cherish you. And I do cherish you. Cherish is the word.